Well, they broke through, and now it's a big future.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
So the URI basketball program has been the chatter, no doubt, certainly in the ongoing battle for turf and real estate with the basketball constituency out there, PC. It's now much more equal footing, which is good for everybody, I think. Good evening. Nice to have you in. On Friday nights, we kind of spread it out a little bit depending on the theme for the show. We don't tell anybody, but we record our Friday program on Thursday afternoon with the hope that nothing major breaks on Friday. And then we kind of catch up on Monday. But it gives us a chance to eliminate the rundown and me opining on the issues and just kind of dig in with the subject matter. And terrific. We got Coach Hurley tonight for the entire program to celebrate, at least at the beginning of the conversation. He's never happy about anything, so I'm sure it's at least a celebration of sorts of an Atlantic 10 championship and a win in the NCAA tournament. There they were in Pittsburgh, lying all over the floor, hugging each other. Those moments you can never, ever take back. And of course, it always ends with a headline like this, because there's only one team in the country that actually ends its season feeling terrific about it all, at least, in the moment. But there's a lot going on, and there are questions about, will he stay? Because in the business of NCAA basketball, it's always coach-centric. The athletic director at URI told Eyewitness News, yes.
Change to Coach Hurley's contract from the one he changed last offseason?
Not officially yet, but Dan and I talked at great length this week. We actually had dinner with the president on Friday night too, so we're excited about putting things together formally and making formal announcements hopefully in the next few days or next week. And we want Dan to be here for a long time, and it's been really fun working with him in the partnership, and I use that word specifically on purpose. I mean, it's a partnership, and what's been great for me is to say, okay, Coach, what are the things you need?
Right. Well, that's it's a broad question. You don't mind if I don't dig into all that business stuff at the beginning, and we can kind of talk basketball a little bit. Is that all right with you?
I mean, you don't just start the game, you warm up for a while.
No.
So.
All right. Do some calisthenics. You got some drills you want to do?
Yeah, you got to get loose.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That was awesome.
It's fun.
Yeah, full disclosure, I do the public address. I feel like I'm part of this crew, a little bit anyway. So know that, because I think I've let you know, both here and on the radio, how excited I am about the progress of this program. Relief?
I mean, it's a part of it. There's tons of different emotions and feelings that you go through. It's a 5 or 6 month emotional roller coaster ride that you're on, with people that you're the closest to in the world. So yeah, I mean, relief was part of it. Exhilarating, tense, pressurized. I mean, it's all these things. That's what makes being a coach or an athlete, such a unique thing.
Getting to the NCAA tournament is now a must for any program that thinks it's got any kind of credibility. Fair or unfair?
I think it's a fair expectation at places that fully invest in their program. I think that's part of having success in this industry. It's a super competitive industry. I mean, you look at you take those Power 5 conferences alone right now, and a lot of those don't make the NCAA tournament, and they're super invested. So I think that what we were able to do at URI in the last bunch of years, that large distance that we covered from the day I was hired to now, I think it put us in a position to kind of get that championship and make it.
5 years to get there, maybe a year longer than you thought it would take, because you can't control injuries. You can't control all the things that happen with 18 to 21-year-old kids. When you call it an industry, I always just kind of have this wincing feeling that it's such a big money industry, intermixed into academic institutions. There's that yin and yang and or push and pull that goes along with that. There's the highs and the lows, and it's all contingent on whether a 20-year-old kid stays healthy and whether he can put a ball in a hoop. It's just You know, why do you want to do this, man? It's crazy.
Well, I mean, last year knocked me on my butt.
It did.
I mean, last year was a tough year. It was, the first time in my career where, that next year wasn't better than the year before. We had suffered through those first couple of years when we weren't very good, and we were trying to put this thing together. Year 3, you get that 23-win season. You go to the NIT, and you say to yourself, "Wow, we're right there. We're going to do this next year." And unfortunately, you could survive injuries and still kind of get through, and somewhat meet reasonable expectations, but you just can't have your best players go down. So that 4th year last year, I think we would have probably, been able to do what we did this year last year if we were healthy. And if there's anything I'd probably kick myself over, it'll just be kind of what Hassan and EC these last 2 years, what it could have been like if those guys were like fully healthy together these last 2. If there's anything that kind of eats away at it.
I mean, kick yourself over is one thing, but there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, unless you did something to enhance the injury. I'm guessing that is not the case.
No, but coaches, we there's some part of the suffering process that we do enjoy. To ruminate on things you could control, things you can't. It's part of fun.
What the hell does that mean?
No, you know how many times I've watched the Oregon game and
Already?
have not watched the VCU. I have not watched any of the. I haven't watched the Creighton game, but I've watched that Oregon.
Just in case you guys are not, following this, the Creighton game they won, the VCU game they won, Atlantic 10 championship in the first round of the NCAA tournament. They lost the Oregon game. Now, there's no dedicated URI fan around that's not doing the math on the Oregon game. You lose by 3 points to Oregon. Oregon blows Michigan to Kingdom Come, beats Kansas, and is in the Final Four. You don't do that math. You don't keep yourself up at night. Obviously, you do. You keep yourself up at night about what it coulda, shoulda, still?
Yeah, definitely, because you always want to be better. I mean, I'm sure in a couple weeks or a month, at Bonnet or somewhere, Newport for lunch, you sit back and you're happy. But, on Tuesday I was, having a meeting with Thor, after losing on Sunday night, about how we're getting back. Once you get a taste of that, once you get a taste of cutting down nets like that and winning the first round game, and because everything in March, with every win, it just gets bigger and better.
So you're suggesting that in a month or so you may have a sandwich on the water and actually have a moment of bliss? Is that what you're saying? A single moment of what? Of acceptance that life is good, or?
If Andrea, my lovely wife, wants to do that, she knows that probably going to take about another couple weeks, a month until we could appreciate it.
What is the sliver of the calendar where you actually, just take stock in life and think everything is good and you're easy on yourself and easy on people around you?
It's probably a couple weekends in June. A couple,
2?
2, maybe in August too. You get a little bit of a break, But number one, you got to be built for this. You got to be wired for it, and
that's why you told me you're not going to do it forever.
No,
remember that? A couple shows ago?
I know. But I'll be doing this until I'm old.
Well, wait a second.
Yeah.
You gave me something last year where you told me, what was the cap? Like there was a 55, 57, you're not going to do it past that age? So now when you give me something good, it's not reliable. You and Donald Trump say something specific, then the next week it changes?
Yeah, no, listen, I would
not
say...
that I'm looking to get you out of the business.
No, I know, listen, my being around my dad, honestly, the last probably couple weeks, I get to spend a lot of time spent with my dad, whether it was at Benedict's, coaching high school, or at Wagner. But like being around him that like couple weeks when he came out for the championship in Pittsburgh and then came out west. And I mean, listen, we're basketball people. I'm gonna be doing this until, watch my father fight for for St. Anthony and trying to keep that play. It's in my blood.
I wonder, not that I'm your psychologist, but I wonder if this is a direct relationship to the success that you just had. Because when you told me that, it was actually, I think it was in the beginning, during the struggles of last year, you were talking about having a cap on this. Now that you've busted through this whole tournament thing, the career doesn't seem so what?
No, that has nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it.
Nothing.
It was just the relationship stuff, just the family stuff, just the this is who we are type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean I knew we would break through as soon as we got healthy enough to play at our highest level. Then we were going to play at our highest level. I mean that's what we dealt with the whole year. This year
You knew we were
we
going to break
dealt
through
with it
after that Fordham game?
I mean, it was a dark time. I mean, that was bad. You know, but the way that we dealt with the guys that week, you know, the fact that Hassan and Jarvis were starting to feel better. I mean, we did have confidence. I mean, were there moments of, you know, of darkness there the night before Mason? We had meetings with the guys, and we explained to them how it was, and you know, they had a look in their eye and sat down with me and Cox, and you know, we knew the guys were going to be ready. And then once we won the Mason game, I don't think that we thought we were going to lose a game for a while.
When we come back, we'll talk about what Thor mentioned. There might be a new deal coming. There's always a new deal coming. Stay with us. Well, we had a little piece from Bill Koch the other day. I thought we were going to see that, Kev. The suggestion, no, well, there's the headline. And then I think it was the first piece of audio there, Kev, that we were going to run. Why don't we do that? So, see if we can pull that up.
Coaches more want an opportunity to win, more so, well, in Dan Hurley's case anyway, more so than to be paid, you know, the highest level in the conference, to be the highest paid coach in the conference. What that means is if he has ideas for his program, whether it be charter flights to every game, you know, whether that be more money for his assistant coaches, you know, whether that be a little more power over scheduling, he wants to operate at the highest level in the league.
All right, so that's Bill Koch's commentary. He was here last week talking all about your program. Of course, you're oblivious to it. You are oblivious to it, purposefully.
Purposely. Great decision.
You don't read. Great decision or what? To be
Because it hasn't always
oblivious?
been that way for me, you know, and then that was.
Meaning you read your stuff,
Yeah.
and
You know,
it gets to you.
yeah, it's probably as, you know, even a year or two ago, you know, like being just overly sensitive and, you know.
So what was in the newspapers and television, or the
Yeah,
social
like
media
reading,
stuff?
like reading articles, probably a little bit of both. I mean, you know, and it was, you know, I was advised by all of my mentors not to do it. But part of you know, or at least at that stage in terms of, you know, the way I handle things and my overall maturity, you know, I think if you constantly push yourself, then you get better all the time.
Well, look, there's Thor Bjorn, the athletic director, told Yanni, as you saw earlier in the show, that working on a new deal. You know, by the time you see this, there might be some news, or early next week. You're reviewing yet another contract extension as we speak, correct?
Yeah, I've been talking to Thor and Dave Dooley since really the Tuesday that we, you know, just 2 days removed from, you know, from playing in the tournament, in the NCAA's, and you know, it was about, you know, how are we going to make it easier for us to get back in terms of, you know, really impacting two areas. You know, recruiting and the player's experience, you know, player enhancements or their experience while they're with us, trying to, you know, have everything in place so that they're at their best in terms of the way they're being educated and the way they're being developed as a student.
So is Bill correct when he asserts that it's less about your income? I'm guessing you're not going to look gift horses in the mouth when it comes to your own personal income, but it's as much about the other peripheral expenses on the program, and that gets written into your deal?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not about, for me, being the highest paid coach in the conference. Like, you know, that's not something that, you know, even registers with me. You know, I have an agent that understands, you know, what my value is, and, you know, he'll do a good job by me, but it's about those other things. I want to win. I want to win desperately. I want to go to the tournament. You know, every year I want to win this conference every year. I have big goals here and in my career as a coach, and in order to do that, you've got to be at a place that's fully invested, you know, in your recruiting.
And you guys have to have at least 4 or 5 years out, because you have to be able to say to a mom and a dad when a kid's coming in that you're going to be there, or at least the university supports you being there.
Yeah.
Do you make the promise that, and this is not just you I'm speaking to, I ask Cooley the same question, every coach that ever comes through, do you make a promise to a player that you're guaranteed to be there for his or her 4 years?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I don't
It's
know
hard
that
to
you'll
do.
ever.
When you're on the top of a headline all the
Yes.
time, every time a great job opens up, you are now a candidate for that great job. And since the Dayton coach just blew out for the Big Ten, you're probably now on the top of the A-10 list of who can we grab to go somewhere else bigger time. So when Mrs. Jones says, well, Coach, we'd love to have Johnny play for you, but how long are you going to be around? Your answer is?
It's like I said to our incoming recruits family, Duran Fats Russell. I said, if I'm not at your state championship game on Saturday, you you might want to be concerned. It was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, last Saturday. I was in Hershey, Pennsylvania on Saturday, watching a future star for the Rams, play a state championship, get MVP, cut down the nets. The players know where I'm going to be. The kids that we're recruiting know where I'm going to be. The program hasn't, for me here, we haven't gotten to the level that, when I got here, I imagined that we could get to. So that's what it's all about.
Well, here's the thing. Is there a level of consciousness that you have and that the university has that it's okay to be great at URI and to make URI? I mean, and it's really a question about even the state's citizens and fans and all of that. Thinking about the program as a major league program. I know the conferences are defined in their terms, the upper, mid-major, the mid, but the truth of the matter is that this could be a place you could be for a long, long time if you chose to do that, and it could be rewarding, yes?
Yes. The landscape of college with the things that we have in place, if we continue to add and invest, you could be that level here. I mean, it could be great. You have, I think, a fan base. I mean, look at what it was for us from Pittsburgh that Sunday through to the Oregon game and even beyond, the attention that the state got, the attention that the university got. Nowadays, making the NCAA tournament, winning a championship like we did, winning a game, playing a Final Four team, to the last second of the game. The attention you get is invaluable with this new social media, with how big March Madness has gotten. You just hope that the university and the program and the fans that we're able to capitalize in this moment and push this thing to the next level because we are capable, but there's some commitments and investments and some things we have to do to go to the next level.
All right, let's see if we can dig out what a couple of those things are when we come back. Stay with us.
It's a great venue. It's not a hockey venue, so the seats are very tight to the floor, very steep sides, so the noise sort of cascades down out of that upper deck. And as you know, Dan, on nights where the crowd is in there and loud and engaged, makes a difference.
Yeah, well, listen, Concha and I were talking about this, and there's a level, I think, in the building, in the Ryan Center. I think it's at about 5,800, 6,000, where the building changes. It just changes. It becomes a very difficult place to play if you're a visitor. When it gets to 7 in capacity, it's nuts. It's almost impossible to win there. You recognize that.
Yeah.
What's your responsibility to get that place full? Is there?
Well, I think that
other than the wins, I mean, I get that.
Yeah, I think going into next year, I think we've kind of, fulfilled that. I think that if we don't opening night when the banners go up, and I think you'll probably, I think we'll get our answer, and I think, the onus is on our fan base responding to a great year, but it's on me to promote this thing right and to be the face of this and to get people excited about it. And then the onus is also, on the university athletic department to capitalize on it, to market this thing the right way, and because it has the potential to be a pretty amazing thing, that Ryan Center, once we become established as a national program that can do it.
Next year looks like what? I keep telling everybody who asks me, they think I know something about your program, so I'll respond. This could be a juggernaut.
Yeah, I mean,
it could be a juggernaut.
Yeah, I mean, we return, I'd imagine, the best group of guards, or one of the best group of guards in terms of depth and high-level talent. There's not too many programs that'll return what we will. Obviously, we have some hungry front court players. I've got a little bit of work to do in recruiting, and you always do. But all the pieces are in place for us to have a chance to experience some of the same things.
Fans don't necessarily have the vision, but you have to, in the sense that when you're recruiting, on a 4-year basis, it's very different from the professional level. I mean, that's all about free agency and buying players and giving them and drafting in the right spot. And you can have them in perpetuity if the contracts are good enough. In this situation, it's a carousel. So you're always thinking about how you're replacing, how you're moving and replacing. So Karan Iverson, who comes out of, not nowhere, but somewhere to to a formidable leadership spot on the team, and Hassan Martin, they leave, you already have in your mind that Cyril Langevin will play this kind of role, but you've got it figured out on paper.
Yes, I mean, once a week you're sitting down and working your depth chart and talking about future recruiting classes. And I mean, the trick is simple. In every recruiting cycle, meaning every class, you've got to bring in 2 or 3 guys, that have a chance to be all conference players, or player of the year types like a Jeff Doughton, like a Cyril Langevin, like an E.C. Hassan, like a Jared and Jarvis. I mean, you just have to, if we continue to put recruiting classes together like that, we're going to put ourselves in great shape.
You think in terms of UNPC in your own mind?
Yeah, you know what? We would love to get, to a point where we've got 4 straight NCAA tournament appearances. I mean, Ed's done a great job. That they've really invested there at a very high level in terms of the money that they're spending, the practice facilities, that they're building, how they treat, their Midnight Madness event, and it's first class. And
so what are you missing?
I think that we, from a budget standpoint, on a yearly basis, in terms of how we travel, in terms of the non-conference schedule that we're putting together. We almost missed the NCAA tournament this year because we had to play 3 non-conference road games. There was no one else that was really fighting for an at-large bid that had a realistic chance.
You have to do that because you have to prove outside the conference that you have the strength of schedule and ability to win.
Well, we don't have the money to buy that extra home game. We went to at Valpo, at Providence, at Houston.
Meaning buy a smaller competitor to put a win in your column.
Or just
if people really understood the business of buying wins in the NCAA basketball, they'd flip. They really, it's amazing.
Or buy somebody like a Middle Tennessee State or a Belmont, somebody that's going to be a top 50, top 75 team.
Pay them to come in.
Pay them to come
so
to you.
So you can score on them, you can beat them, and have at the end a resume that's qualifying for the tournament.
Have a chance to beat them because those are risky games that you can lose when you start bringing in.
And those are the things that you're negotiating in terms of trying to finish off a deal and move forward with URI.
It's about putting things both with the schedule that you play, the way you travel, the way your players train, their overall experience and development, how to give them the best chance to be at their best.
Last 30 seconds or so, your biggest takeaway from this breakthrough year is what?
Oh, how amazingly awesome it was. The reaction in the state, the fans, so thrilled for them, and all the years they were waiting for it. And then the next reaction is, how can we deliver those moments even bigger and better next year? Because it's a great state. These fans deserve it, and can't wait to do it again next year.
Well, see if you can scratch out 3 weekends of enjoyment rather than just 2. It might add to your longevity.
Maybe a hike or something. Maybe go up to Vermont, New Hampshire. I hear it's beautiful. Maybe I'll do that.
And play a round of golf?
I hear hiking in nature is really good.
You don't throw clubs, do you?
I'm not a golfer. I don't have the temperament for that.
Come on.
I get dragged into some of these things, but
you come out with me.
Yeah,
I'll teach you the game.
Okay. Lefty, I'm left-handed.
Take a break. Nice breathe. You gotta breathe. Congratulations.
Thanks. It was awesome.
Final word when we come back. This panhandling conversation going on in Cranston where there's brand new laws to keep people off the corners begging for money, it's the wrong approach. We'll talk about it coming up on Monday. You have a great weekend.